Hello there, Victor Pross speaking to you, anarchist artist. Thanks for tuning in. And as the title of this video says, free market anarchism, a moral advancement ahead of libertarianism. Now, I consider anarcho-capitalism as the epitome of a moral argument. By and large, I consider it as having the potential of presenting a consistent moral argument. However, it does fall short. There are too many anarchists who completely bypass ethical philosophy and simply jump to politics, and making their case for such things as property rights and freedom and non-aggression as if they were solely political principles, but completely bypassing or undercutting, in some cases, the ethical foundation upon which those principles rest. And but that's a bitch that I have, and I've touched on that in, let's say, the two previous videos to this one, and I'll continue to make other videos touching on that subject, but I won't expound upon it in this video. Just suffice to say that, as I said, I considered it anarcho-capitalism as having the potential of presenting a consistent moral argument, but is still falling short. But I do consider it, as I say, a philosophical anarchism as above libertarianism, especially of the small government advocate variety. But overall, I would consider anarchism and libertarianism as an advancement over the classical liberals. And I think that an accurate definition of libertarianism, as distinct from the classical liberals, is one in which covers the spectrum of regarding the state as inherently evil. Modern libertarians might regard the state as a necessary evil or as an unavoidable evil, and thereby seek to control or limit the government, accepting its existence, however, as necessary. No matter how destructive it proves to be, somehow it still manages to become a necessary institution. But that's that's just an intellectual shortcoming that the libertarians have. Now, unlike classical liberals, however, of the 19th century, modern liberals don't try to provide a philosophical or ethical grounding to the state, as did notable individuals such as John Locke, Jean-Baptiste Say, David Ricardo, etc. No. Libertarians regard the state as a given, as if it were just a metaphysical primary like gravity, just woven into the fabric of the universe. That's a very unfortunate attitude. It's just a freaking man-made institution. Okay, it's not a metaphysical primary, for Christ's sakes. It's not a law of gravity that we must have a state, but that's how they accept it. It's here to stay. It's always been and always will be. Just like the rotation of the planets, and just like one season succeeds the other, it's here it is, the three absolutes in the universe: death, taxes, and government. So the best that we can hope for or try to achieve is controlling it and limiting it, which a whole slew of different arguments against that nonsense can be presented and has been presented. Other libertarians will call for the outright abolishment of the state, which speaks to an anarcho-capitalist, of course. For this libertarian anarchist, the state is an unnecessary evil. It's not an inevitable evil or a necessary evil. It's an unnecessary evil. Now, they don't. Anarchists of this sort don't make any case of speaking in terms of historical determinism, that there's the end of the state is inevitable, or has some kind of like master blueprint 12-step plan of ending the state as a guaranteed formula. They just recognize a monstrosity, a ridiculous moral evil, and call it for what it is, and they don't go around declaring it as necessary, on the other hand, though. So that's kudos for the anarcho-capitalists. So we have the libertarians who regard the state as an unnecessary evil or unavoidable evil, and but anyone who sees the state as capable of being intrinsically good, now this is a different stripe of person altogether, they ought not to be considered a libertarian. Anybody who considers the state as being intrinsically good, unlike the libertarians such as they are, who regard it as an as a necessary evil. Necessary evil. How do you like that oxymoron? Just kills me all the time. But anyway, yeah, this is just a status. A person who regards the state as intrinsically good. That's just an out-and-out freaking status. They're fucking dinosaurs. All the arguments made in advance for the state by them has failed miserably time and time again. And one of the things that I would call upon libertarian and anarchists is not to bypass ethical philosophy. It's all well and good to make the pragmatic arguments of free market efficiency and allocation of resources and whatnot, and that's all well and good. That has its place. But if we are to make the case for a free society, we have to go to the root source, which is ethics. This is Victor Pross signing out. Thank you for listening. Pop Goes the Culture.